Hello, and welcome to another episode of My Two Cent. My name is Paul Emerson, and I'll be giving you my 2 cents. Today's topic is going to be about the alleged. Well, it's not even alleged. Because it's trending, right? And it's funny because I was just about to actually sit down and record something for My 2 cents, but because it's trending and I want to grow my channel, I've got to take out the time to do. I just woke up, so that's why I got like very white voice right now. But anyway, we'll get past all of that, and I logged on Facebook, and then someone responded to a post I put on my wall, and so there's this case going around about this Caucasian male that's 17 that has put a lot of propaganda on his wall and social media and has said that in 2018, 17-year-old male in 2018 is declaring himself a neo-Nazi, and he's got a mountain of evidence to show that he has alleged himself what we would otherwise deem as a terrorist organization, if not for the bias of his ethnicity in this country, right? So he's mowed swastikas in people's yards. He has killed his girlfriend's parents. You know, he has weapons and all types of crazy nonsense. So the judges want to charge him in court as a minor, and that's the controversy. There's lots of reasons. There's lots of controversies, but the overall topic is the fact that this Caucasian kid is being charged as a minor for murdering his girlfriend, either his girlfriend and their parents, or his girlfriend's parents, because they didn't want her to associate with him anymore, which is reasonable for actual parents doing their job. So the post I put on my wall, it was trying to show evidence or proof of how the bias in this country works when it comes to charging Caucasian children versus non-Caucasian children. And so there's a case of a young woman that was allegedly being raped, because it's always allegedly being raped, right? She was allegedly being raped by a group of, I think it was police officers. I'll get my facts later. I'll edit at the bottom of the screen if I speak in error. But her case was based on the fact that she was being raped, and her actions to take the lives of the people that were raping her, the men that were raping her, was in of itself its own form of self-defense, right? They charged her as an adult, even though she may have been engaged in self-defense. Now, it's never okay to kill someone. It's never okay. Even as a soldier, I know that. But I need to like survive in this country, and we deal with issues like this. So what do you as an individual do? And that's the reality of what's going on. This is the reason why these types of topics continue to pop up, and that's why individuals like myself, we try to create some level of clarity in all of the confusion, because it's never okay to take someone's life, but you're gonna put a young woman in jail for life for defending her right not to be raped. You're gonna say that a woman has a right to control her own body, but she doesn't have the right to defend her own body. And even if she is guilty of murdering a man for forcing himself on her, is it really justifiable to lock this individual up for the rest of her life when she's still just a minor? The definition of a minor, regardless of how the court wants to change it in the courtroom, is anyone under the age of 17. So if you're not 18, you're a minor. So if you commit a crime at the age of 17, whether the courts wants to acknowledge it as you being an adult or not, you're still a minor. The problem in this country is that Caucasian children are always minors, regardless of what they do, until they turn 18. But non-Caucasian children can be minors as young as age 7 if the courts so deem it. And this piggies right back to all of the kinds of adversities that the African American experiences in this country. You want to know why a young woman like I think her last name was Brown. Well, we'll say a young melanated female under the age of 17 would grab a weapon and murder a male that is raping her instead of trying to find justice. Well, it's the same reason that the same individual is going to be put in jail for the rest of her life for defending her right to protect her own body. This entire country feels like it has the right to go to another country and annihilate an entire culture of people when we stand on a platform of freedom, right? We don't want people coming to our country and murdering us. And we feel like we should be able to have weapons to defend our right against that, while going to another nation and infringing on their right to do that. And then we'll put up videos about how a woman has a right to abort because she should be able to control her body and have all of these privileges when it comes to her vessel. But God forbid that a female defends herself from an actual violent act, because rape is a violent act. So if you're being violently attacked and you defend yourself with violent acts, and I'm not talking about some guy ran up on her and, you know, in the heat of the moment tried to take advantage of her and she pulled out a weapon and shot him. I'm saying that if you know that you're in a perpetual situation of being molested and raped, and you choose to defend yourself from that continuous threat because there's no other source from which you can get security from, as the case with most non-Caucasian females, you should have that right in this country, right? Because it's okay for her to go to an abortion clinic and destroy the life of an African American child that's going to be born from her womb, but it's not okay for her to protect that same womb under the same principles of this system. And every time you get on a platform and you give justification to why it's okay for a 17-year-old Caucasian male to be charged as a minor, in spite of the fact that non-Caucasians of age 17, regardless of their crimes, are being charged as adults, then you're just being a hypocrite and a part of the system that's going to continue to try to push for the re-ramification of slavery in this country. I need to make it perfectly clear in this video right now that when I have children and my children have children, they are always at threat of being put back into slavery in this nation until the Caucasians in this nation show that they have enough clarity and class and integrity to be the primary ones willing to die to stop that from happening as a minority of people. The minority of good whites in this nation are not enough to protect the rest of the minorities in this nation from the minority state of Caucasians that do wrong in this country. The 1% of Caucasians that do wrong in this nation have more influence and power than the 99% of us non-Caucasian that's supposed to be the minority that sit back and say, oh, well, allegedly this and supposedly that. And this gentleman, he's not really a bad kid. He just didn't do the right thing. Well, all kids do the wrong thing, right? All of them did. As mature as I was as a child, I did things that were obviously the wrong thing at that moment. But did it mean that I should have been locked up for the rest of my life because of my skin color? Did it mean that I was a problem child? A perfect example is I set fires in a park. And because my father, being the man that he was, he let the officers know, like, okay, he's a kid. He started some fires in a park. It's the first time he's ever done anything like that. I will take care of it. But depending on what type of environment you're living in as a child, based on your skin color, something as simple as starting a fire because, you know, like, wow, it's fire. I can play with this. It's a toy. And then your adult parent comes to you and says, see, you can't really play with fire for these reasons. It's part of being part of a society. And then you as a child that's going to grow up and mature have the time to say, okay, I won't make this a habit, right? But when you're African American, every decision you make is always, oh, well, that's just a perfect example of the type of monster that individual is going to turn into. You know, I start one fire, I get chastised, I learn from my mistake. But then you have chronic arsonists that are constantly being in court and it's been explained to them how they're going to outgrow this behavior after their seventh or eighth attempt, simply because they're Caucasian. And that needs to stop, because that's how you create. When you see like people shooting up movie theaters and all these mass shootings of Caucasian children, and we don't say anything because we need to protect our First Amendment rights and all that. This is why. This is exactly why. Because when you are a 17-year-old and you know that, oh, I'm 17 Caucasian male. If I want to go murder some people, they're just gonna try me as a minor, and I may do 3 or 4 years, but the act itself will be done, you know. But if you're that 18-year-old or 16, 15, or 14-year-old non-Caucasian female that is being constantly bullied and sexually assaulted every day, like in Forrest Gump, and there's nothing that you can do about it because what? Well, if I murder them, then I'm gonna go to prison for the rest of my life. And if I go to an adult and explain the situation, then no one's gonna believe me because my skin color. So I'm just a liar, you know. Or worse, you're a Christian and you just accept the fact that this is God's plan for you. You spend the next 10 or 20 years of your life being molested because somehow this is God's plan. Because that's the type of mentality that exists still in this country. And we need to move beyond that. We've got iPhones. We have iPhones, right? Amazon is trying to use drones to deliver packages to people's homes. You know, we've got semi-trucks that are more powerful than diesel engine trucks that are fully electric. It's 2018. It's time to move beyond childish things. And as always, my name is Paul Emerson, and that is my 2 cents.